Sex is a part of life. It's how we all got here, right? But what happens if we keep having sex as we get older? What if we keep having intimate experiences and relationships? What if we explore our sensuality? And what if we talk to people about their sexuality and their experience? Do they tell us to go away and it was the worst thing we ever brought up? Do they fall over and scream? Do they suddenly get naked? Is it so embarrassing that we can't stand it? I've been in practice for years and I've talked to hundreds of people about their sexual health and experience. But I didn't want to rely just on my clinical experience, so I also dug through the research literature on what do we know about people as they age and their sexuality. What things can actually help us as we age with our sexuality? So let's go for a walk so I can share my top 10 points that I learned with you. Let's go. Point 1, there's variety. Just like with younger people, older people are very different from each other. They are diverse and they have different opinions. Point number 2. Some stereotypes are partially true. Some people are of the generation where it wasn't normal to talk about sex, and if you bring it up with them, they may be offended or tell you that it was inappropriate to do so. Point number 3, a lot more people are actually happy to talk about it. In fact, they often don't get a chance to talk about it because people have these stereotypes that they wouldn't be interested, they'd be offended, or they just don't want anybody to bring it up. In a Swedish study of people up to 100 years old, more than 80% of both women and men said that they had positive thoughts and wanted to communicate about sexuality. Point number 4, we don't have to be in a relationship to talk about our sexual or intimate experiences. Masturbation and other forms of self-pleasure are also good things to bring up. Point number 5, people with chronic diseases, cancer, problems after menopause, a long list of medications, or other physical or emotional problems also want to talk about sex. These conditions can make it even harder to have physical enjoyment or sexual pleasure, so it might be even more important for them to feel seen and heard sexually. Point number 6, about a quarter of older adults said that even talking about sex made them feel better about it, even if there wasn't an easy solution to some of their problems. Point number 7, there are short-term benefits to sexuality and intimacy. Things like muscle relaxation, pain relief, and yes, those things include the headaches that sometimes get in the way, and better sleep. Many of those aspects are things that older adults really need. Point number 8, there are intermediate benefits to sexuality and intimacy. Things like decreased stress and decreased depression. Point number 9, there are long-term benefits of sexuality and intimacy. It's been linked to things like decreases in cardiovascular problems, living longer, and even a delay in the onset of dementia. Point number 10, sex or intimacy doesn't have to mean penetrative sex. Things like cuddling, kissing, connecting on an emotional level, touching, masturbating, oral sex, or other types of sexual exploration can be also really good for you. A study on kissing showed benefits for reduced cholesterol, and a study on hugging showed reduced inflammation in the body. These things can sometimes be more accessible, especially as we get older. The value of intimacy never goes away. So if we've done anything today, I hope we've taken a few steps past the idea that as we age, we're not supposed to have sex and we're certainly not supposed to talk about it. In fact, I hope we've moved toward the idea that experiencing it and talking about it is healthy and positive. Please let me know what you've thought about today's conversation and if you want me to go any deeper on any of the points that I've brought up. As always, I am so happy to chat with you about all of these ideas, and I can't wait for our next walk.